And we're live. Hooray! Anyone that hasn't been watching us for the past hour won't know that we've had extreme problems with tech. We should have gone live an hour ago, but never mind. We're here now, which is all good. Thank you for being here, Carolyn. So, okay, let's start. I am Harriet from With You in Mind, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Carolyn Sullins, Dr. Carolyn Sullins, who is going to talk to us about a condition I'd not heard of until about a month ago, called Functional Neurological Disease. This series is about facing challenges and living with adversities, so it fits in very well to what Carolyn is going to talk about. So welcome today, Carolyn. Thank you so much for joining.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you so much for the patience with all of our technical difficulties.
Yeah, likewise though, Carolyn, gosh. So for anyone listening, maybe the first place to start is just to explain a little bit about what functional neurological disease is, because I didn't know what it was, and I've been in the medical field for quite some time.
Yes, I didn't really know about it until 2022, even though I'd had it since 1998. Functional neurological disorder is essentially an issue where the brain has difficulty sending and receiving signals to and from the rest of the body. It's often explained metaphorically as the hardware of the brain is intact, but the software is glitching. So
Right.
with FND, there will be the MRIs will be normal, EEGs will be normal. All of the tests that they traditionally use to look for things such as epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, etc., will all be negative. And because of this, it's a diagnosis has been difficult. Not just diagnosis, but for literally over a century, the assumption has been, well, if all the tests are normal, there's nothing really wrong. It's all in your mind.
Mm-hmm. So that, I mean, obviously that's a terribly frustrating thing to have to live with when you know that you've got something that's not all in your mind. Perhaps for a bit of context and comparison, you could tell us a little bit about what life was like before any of this happened to you.
Okay, and I just realized I just gave a description about what it is as far as the brain signaling, but I hadn't mentioned what the potential symptoms are or can be.
Well, because we can get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can, if you like, maybe describe a few now, and then we can go back to before that happened and what life was like for you, if you like. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a wide range of different symptoms that a person with FND can have. There's the motor subtype, which is what I have, which can cause difficulty walking, twitching, tremors, tics, all kinds of motor disturbances. And chances are you're going to see some live as I follow through with this interview. And there's other subtypes. There's one, functional seizures, which on the surface look like epileptic seizures, but again, the tests will not have the same type of brainwave abnormalities as a person with epilepsy will show. There's other subtypes with sensory. So sometimes people have difficulty with vision and or hearing, or might have sensations. It might like pins and needles sensations, or other difficulties such as double vision, or so there's a very wide range of different types of symptoms a person can have.
Yeah, it seems there's a lot. Yeah. And what symptoms do you have out of the ones you've just mentioned? Which ones do you live with?
The ones that I have, primarily the tics, which again, like I said, you'll probably see at some point during this interview. Difficulty walking at times. I will sometimes be walking normally, all of a sudden my knee will just give out, or my hips will give out, and I'll have to grab my knees to keep from falling. Yeah. Or sometimes it's just grabbing for something, my hand will shake. So I'm very lucky because the symptoms I have now, I would consider more of just an annoyance. rather than a severe
Okay.
disability. But
Yeah.
there are people with FND who do have severe disabilities,
Mm,
paralysis.
mm,
Um,
hmm.
the most extreme case I've heard of was a young woman who spent years unable to move anything except her neck and lower part of her face. She was
Yeah.
blind and in extreme pain because her knees were being twisted backwards from
Oh my
signals in her
gosh.
brain.
Yeah.
And it took years for her to be diagnosed, and she's doing much better now. But um,
Gosh. That really is extreme, though, isn't it? That's sort of
yes, yeah,
everything taken away from you and
oh yeah,
pain. It's unimaginable, isn't it?
oh yeah. When I read about that case, that there's um, yes, she has been featured in People magazine recently.
Mm,
At first, I thought, well, that can't be what I have. And then when I
right.
started
Yeah.
reading her own blog,
Mm,
I thought, and she was describing when she was in the milder stages,
mm,
and it made me, well, first of all, it made me, of course, grateful that mine was so mild compared to hers and other people.
mm, hmm.
Because hers, like I said, hers are definitely extreme, not typical. But
Yeah.
it also made me angry that, wow, it can be that extreme, and yet so few people know about it, and so
Mm,
many doctors, even now, still think, oh, it's just
mhm.
all in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, totally frustrating. I feel myself wanting to know how this lady is now, but you say she's much
Oh,
better. Sorry, I
yes.
just is she able to move more now, or oh, she is, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, her name is Megan Dixon. She does have her own TikTok
Okay.
page where she talks about her own experiences.
Mm,
And the good news is she can see again, she can talk, she can move her upper
wow.
body. The bad news is her legs have been so deformed that she's going to have them amputated above the knee.
Right, okay. I mean, it
So,
all sounds horrendous, but the fact that she can move again and she's got a vision
yeah.
back is better than it was before, isn't it?
Oh,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I'm sorry we digressed on. I just found I needed to know the answers to that. It's just one of those things. But so going back to your own situation,
Mhm.
the first symptoms that you had, well, what year was that?
This was 1998. I
Yeah,
had,
okay.
I was a graduate student in psychology,
Mm-hmm.
and I had just finished qualifying exams, was looking forward to starting my dissertation and just thinking
Mm,
about where my life was going to go from there.
yeah.
It started when I just woke up dizzy one morning and didn't think much of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I've been under a lot of stress. Maybe I just need to, been a while since I've gone out and had fun with friends, so I'm going to go to a party
Mm,
tonight.
mm-hmm.
And I was, as I went to the party, I was feeling worse instead of better.
Yeah.
And someone passed around a plate of cookies, and I went to grab one, and I noticed that my hand was just not moving right. And someone
Mm-hmm.
said, oh, what are you looking for? The one with the most chocolate chips or what? And so I thought,
Right.
never mind, I'm not hungry because I didn't know what was going on with my hand. And then
Yeah.
later I stood up and I stumbled. And someone said, oh, so Carolyn, how much have you had to drink? And I
Mm,
just laughed because I hadn't had anything except, Diet Coke. But
yeah.
I couldn't explain what was going on. And so I finally just,
Mm,
excused myself and went home. I mean, luckily I was able to drive safely, but I just wondered
yeah.
what is going on.
Yeah.
And
That sounds quite scary. Were you frightened at the time as well?
I think, more confused than anything. I was just like,
Right.
what is going on? It just seems
Mm,
surreal.
mm-hmm.
And so I, of course, went to the doctors at the university. One
Yeah.
said it was just stress, of course, and then
Mm,
another thought it could be epilepsy.
mm. And
And that
were you stressed though? I mean, at the time?
the strange thing is, I had not been more stressed than usual, I'd say.
No. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you're a graduate student, there's always stress.
Yeah, of course,
But
but no more than usual.
yeah, it is true that for some people it is a stressful trigger that sets off the FND. For
Mm,
others, it could be a viral infection, a head
mm.
injury,
Okay.
reaction to medication.
Mm-hmm.
Now, until recently, doctors thought it was all just stress. In fact,
Mm,
until 2023, or I'm sorry, until 2013, this disorder had a different name and a different concept.
Mm-hmm.
It was called conversion disorder because doctors assumed that people were converting stress into fake physical symptoms.
Right.
And that was, in fact, that was the initial, when I finally got all the tests run,
Mm.
that was the diagnosis I was given.
Okay. Conversion
And,
disorder.
oh, yeah. And I, of course, as a psychology student, we'd learned all about this. And
Okay.
what we learned at the time about conversion disorder was
Mm.
that it was very common in Freud's time because women were uneducated.
Right.
But now that women were educated, you would never see it in a clinic unless women were mentally the R word.
Right. Okay.
And the R word was not resilient or respectable.
Mm. No, something much more derogatory.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was, and
Mm.
the other thing we learned about conversion disorder at the time
Mm.
was that patients never got better because they were in denial and didn't want to get better.
Right. Okay. And this is what everyone across the board felt in the
Oh,
psychiatry profession, and yeah.
oh,
Mm.
unfortunately, yes. And the interesting thing was, of course, as a student, I learned about this and I saw no reason to question it.
Mm.
In
Mm-hmm.
fact, the only question I had at the time was, why do we talk about this condition year after year, class after class, if it's
Mm.
basically been eradicated like smallpox?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I got that diagnosis, you can imagine how I felt. It was like
Mm.
the worst. I'd already had some imposter syndrome, like a lot of students do. Like, wow, am I really smart enough for this program? And
Yes.
when I got
Yeah.
that diagnosis, that was
Yeah.
like the ultimate slap in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my husband at the time, I would have been happier if the doctor had said I had a fatal brain tumor.
Wow. That's saying something, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I felt like, wow, to have this condition, to think, wow, this is what is wrong with not just my
Mm.
brain, but
Yeah.
it was it really felt like, wow, there's something wrong with me as a person, not
Mm.
my body.
Yeah.
And what kept me going through that time when I thought, was, between my husband, my family, my friends, even my thesis advisor at school.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So, wow, we have known you for years. The doctor who gave you this diagnosis made this on the basis of some negative tests
Mm.
and a short conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you going to believe? As far as, I mean, not that they had a different diagnosis, but
Mm.
that
Mm-hmm.
how can you believe this about yourself, that you're
Mm.
not
Mm-hmm.
intelligent, that you don't want to get better,
Yeah.
that all those implications about
Mm. Mm-hmm.
this, the way the condition was described. And
Yeah.
so
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
that's when
So
I,
yeah, I mean, they were just shutting you down, weren't they? Whereas your family could reassure you that it's certainly, it's something that's dramatically changed. It's not part of your personality or any sort of failing. There's something going on here. But doctors just weren't doing that. And someone's just put a question. Dr. Homeless, hello, welcome, has just asked. I just joined, so I don't know if you mentioned the DSM-3 version. It's now the
oh,
DSM-5, is it not? But is it? I don't know what their definition
oh,
is. Can you
oh,
tell
yes.
us?
Yes, conversion disorder was
Mm.
previously given an even more offensive name.
Oh, he's. Oh, yeah.
One that's so
Okay.
offensive, I hate to say it, but I think it's
Mm.
important contextually.
Yeah.
Hysteria.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Which dates back all the way to Freud, doesn't it? And
Oh,
Brewer.
it actually it goes
Yeah.
back to Freud and technically goes even beyond that because the
Right.
word literally means, well, that the womb is wandering around a woman's body pining for children.
Right. Okay.
Now Freud
Wow.
kind of kept the name, but thought it was just a problem in the mind rather than the uterus.
Mm.
But
Mm-hmm.
still, it's a very sexist concept. It's a very degrading concept. And
Yeah.
sadly, just yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
someone on LinkedIn posted a paper on FND that still used that term.
Really? Yesterday, did you say?
Yes, and it was.
Oh.
I don't have reference, the direct reference to it at the moment, but,
Mm.
and I did respond back with just how offensive that term was. And
Mm.
even if you say, I mean, even in the context of, oh, it used to be called this,
Mm.
without
Mhm.
any indication that how offensive that term is,
Yeah.
and that you continue to say, oh, it used to be called this, as if it's just a new euphemism
Mm.
rather than a completely different concept.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, so,
Mm.
you know, what happened? I mean, I can go a million different directions with this story, but what eventually happened was, after I did get my PhD in spite of this. In fact, I had my dissertation was on using empowerment evaluation to evaluate a mental health drop-in center.
Mhm.
And the fact that I had all these very conspicuous symptoms at the time, they're less conspicuous now,
Yeah.
really built a bridge between myself and the members of this drop-in center who had diagnoses and experiences far more degrading than my own.
Mm. Mhm.
And so, and the dissertation was all about getting people in control of their own not just in control of their own services, but
Mhm.
in control of how they were evaluated. Because
Mm.
one thing that my experiences taught me was just how biased a lot
Mm.
of measurements are,
Yeah.
a lot of
Okay.
the way things are assessed, and you people, if just the whole notion that if we can't see on a brain scan what's wrong, then by
Mm.
definition, it's all in the person's mind. They're making it up,
Mm. Mhm.
um, or making it up subconsciously,
Yeah.
which
I
is
mean, that's crazy. I mean, there are so many conditions which they don't use brain scans for in the psychotherapy world, aren't there? I mean, OCD to an extent there are brain scans, but they don't, in this country at least, they don't use them to diagnose. There's bipolar, there's schizophrenia, there's so many that they don't use
Mhm.
brain scans for. So it doesn't make any sense that they would then say that FND is in the category of where you need a brain scan to diagnose it.
Well,
Um,
it is true that you need a brain scan to rule out the other conditions. So you would
mm,
have to, if a person comes in and they're having what look like seizures or
yeah.
tremors, yes, you would have to rule out other causes. But the
Mhm,
issue is that the jumping to conclusions that if we can't see what's wrong on
mhm,
tests, well, then the person must be making it up at some level. This has happened with so many other conditions that are predominantly affect women.
mhm. Yeah, sure.
Fibromyalgia is another example.
Mm,
Myalgic encephalomyelitis, also known as chronic fatigue syndrome. For the
mhm,
longest time, everyone thought, oh, these, the women are just,
mm.
or they're just overstressed or they're
Yes,
lazy.
yeah, yeah,
And those,
yeah.
although we've come a distance with that,
We
there's
have.
some people who are still trapped to
Mm.
that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's still with chronic fatigue. I remember like 20 years ago when it was like, oh, they didn't really know what it was, and and I remember distinctly them saying, oh, it's just them being lazy, or they're just tired. They just need to rest up or just make more effort, kind of thing. I mean, even now, I think people still don't understand what ME is or chronic fatigue syndrome is, but they're becoming a little bit more tolerant. But it's taking so long to get to a place where this person's got this condition and we need to treat it and be empathic about it and understand what's going on for them. So it's like we've come a long way, but not far enough. And with your condition, FND,
Mhm.
we're still quite far behind. And the lady or the person that's commenting on this Substack right now is also saying that a couple of hours ago she was in a neuroscience lab and they were using the old terms for the condition. I think that was conversion hysteria. The message has gone now. So it's a really good point. It's still really being described in the wrong way with the wrong labels.
Oh, it certainly is. And it's
Mm,
kind of ironic because I had this, like I said, since 1998, but for about 20 years or so, it had
mm,
gone not into full remission, but
mm,
enough that it was no longer a huge impact on my life. Um,
mm,
I had one doctor thought it was Tourette syndrome, which to me
yeah.
was definitely a much less degrading diagnosis. And but I just learned to live with the symptoms. If I was walking funny, I'd just say, "Oh, my foot fell asleep," or I muscle spasm. I'd say, "Overdid it at the gym." So I would just, learn to, yeah.
Make excuses that because people were expecting something different. It was like masking in the extreme, isn't it? Which is exhausting.
Oh, it was. I mean, but it did get somewhat better. So it wasn't. I can't say it was just masking. It was. I mean, I noticed it got a lot better after I had my first child.
Right. That's
And
interesting. Yeah.
well, there are now indications that, estrogen seems to play a role in women, that it's not uncommon that women get better when they're pregnant and have kids, and then get a little worse after menopause, which also happened to me. But what happened to me eventually was already starting to creep back with menopause, and again, more tests, just stress. Then I got COVID.
Right.
And I had actually, back-to-back episodes of COVID. I had all kinds of, in addition to the FND, more typical post-COVID symptoms, cardiac issues, et cetera. And I was home at just zombie scrolling on my phone because there's nothing else I could do. My boss had told me, "I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, take a break from work." And that's when I saw a woman talking about functional neurological disorder. Like, what's that? She was being interviewed by a neurological physical therapist who specialized in treating FND.
Okay.
And when I heard this woman's story, and she too had been originally diagnosed with conversion disorder, it then got so bad over time that she had to be put in a nursing home, was unable to speak, barely able to move. So she too had an extreme case. And then when she finally got a correct diagnosis years later and got physical therapy, she relatively quickly regained the ability to move and speak and everything else. Still had symptoms, but they were manageable. And I was just, when I listened to her, I thought, wow, this sounds just like what I went through, or only a lot more extreme. And so I started reading all I could about it. From, a source called neurosymptoms.org, which is basically the pioneer. Is written by Dr. John Stone, who's the one who really went from, wait, these conversion disorder patients aren't the way they were described in the textbook. They're intelligent, they're hardworking, they really want to get better, and thought maybe something else is going on besides these stereotypes. And he thought, okay, they seem to have even though structurally their brain is intact, they have what appears to be a disorder of neurological function. So that's why the term was changed to functional neurological disorder.
Right. Okay.
But unfortunately, and I didn't realize this until further in my studies, it was basically people just thought, oh, so that's what we call hysteria now. So even though the name changed to reflect not just a new name, but a new concept, doctors just saw, oh, this is the newest euphemism. And the DSM didn't help because they made some very minor tweaks, but they still said FND and then in parentheses conversion disorder. And so, and the field is still, divided.
It's still blurry. Yeah. So it's an ongoing battle, isn't it, at the moment, to get this corrected, and it just seems that what is wrong with these professionals that can't see it for what it is? It's quite staggering, to be honest with you. And I just think, from a therapist point of view, I'm sort of overwhelmed by the fact that you have to put up with this, as well as the physical conditions, being told that it's a type of hysteria, conversion hysteria, and you've had to live with these things which are just so obviously not made up. So yeah, I'm angry for you. Very angry. But I also, because this podcast is also about facing challenges and how you deal with it, I'm really interested in how it has affected you, your mental moods and so on during the years, how you've managed to keep going and fight to get more awareness about it and, you know, feel better within yourself.
And I think what happened was when I finally got the diagnosis, which was kind of a good news, bad news thing. Good thing. And I think the whole irony was this: oh, good, I have a real diagnosis. It's a real thing. It's not conversion disorder. And then learning, oh, well, but actually, most people think it is the same thing. But reading that there's new research that is looking into more of the mechanics on a when it's here's an example. I think that'll help explain what's really kind of going on, especially with the movement subtype. Is that when you walk into a room, you don't think about how far you bend your knees, you don't think about how far you flex your ankles, all of that is automatic.
Yeah.
We could say it's unconscious. But with FND, somehow those movement processes get glitched. And so, like one thing I learned recently is that most of the stability in your knees and hips come from your brain. Like you're constantly doing all these micro movements to keep stable. And if you ever, and now you started thinking, well, when you look at babies when they learn to walk, they don't spend a lot of time just standing, because standing actually takes a lot of balance and mental calibration. So but it just seems so ironic that yes, there are subconscious processes going on, but it's all about movement, not oh, you subconsciously want attention, or you subconsciously don't want to work, and that's why you can't walk. And I think the one reason why a lot of these things persist is, yes, stress can definitely make it worse. For a lot of people, so I don't want to go to the swing of the other pendulum and say, oh, it's all, it has nothing to do with stress.
No.
Stress can definitely be a trigger. And also, yes, learning stress management techniques can really help. So,
and that makes sense, because
yeah,
most conditions are affected by stress. So that does make sense. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And I think that's what's so frustrating, is that there's still this false dichotomy that these are the quote unquote real biological illnesses, and these are the imaginary psychological ones. When we're learning more and more about how mind and body are not these two completely separate things. And at the same time, we're learning about the neurological mechanisms in FND. We're learning that stress can affect the body in so many ways, that there's some indications that stress can lead to autoimmune disorders. And so it's really about treating the entire person. And that's why the most effective treatments for FND, they found out, is a combination of physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy if necessary, and psychotherapy, ideally all working together as a team. And so back to my story of what happened after I learned this is what I have. Well, actually, before I learned about FND, right after my boss had told me, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, take medical leave for your post-COVID syndrome. And I thought, I don't have long COVID. I don't have those, this and that symptom. I'm just burned out. I need to talk to a therapist because I need to snap out of it. And so I found a therapist.
Wow.
And she said, well, can be, very real and serious damage to neurological function caused by COVID. I really want you to get another medical opinion. And it just so happened that when I returned to work, I had a colleague who was a occupational therapist, and she said, I've noticed you're walking funny. I've noticed you seem to have, difficulty turning your head. You might want to look into physical therapy. And I thought, well, why haven't I thought of that? And I think the reason was because I'd already had an appointment with a neurologist made, but it was 6 months out. So I thought I'd see the neurologist first and get a real diagnosis. Luckily, I did not. I got right into the neurological physical therapist. And he said, this doesn't look like typical post-COVID syndrome. It looks neurological, not vestibular. And I think that at this point this was shortly after I'd learned about FND. And I said, have you ever heard of that?
Right.
He had not. But I was able to show him all the websites that I'd found, the latest information on the topic, and including FND Hope International, which has a list of providers that specialize in it. So even though the nearest provider, the nearest provider is 3 hours away. But I said, I give you my permission to consult with her on my case and learn about how to treat this. And I could not believe how effective the physical therapy was.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, wow, light bulbs going off. This is what's going on.
Right.
And I continued with the psychotherapist, partly because, well, there's a lot going on, between work and everything else. And
of course, yeah.
And also
to process all of this, all the stigma that was attached to it and being told it wasn't real and all those things. I think, you really needed an extra outlet then, didn't you, in terms of talking therapy?
Oh, I absolutely did, because, because I had suppressed the worst of it. In fact, when I still remember my brother-in-law made a joke about, I'd had some tics in public, and they were like, I said, I don't want you to ever talk about this again. I want to put this out of my mind. It never happened, because it was just so embarrassing. And I just didn't want to, I thought the only way you can deal with this was to, especially since there never was any other than, so I just had to, and so after I got COVID and the symptoms came back and got worse, I, and then it was all those memories coming back, and all the, wow, I can't believe I had to. So talking with a therapist really did help me process a lot of that.
Yeah, very traumatic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the lady that's just commented on, I keep saying lady, Dr. Homeless. I'm not sure. But you were saying that your own psychiatrist said this is what she says. My own ex-psychiatrist told me it wasn't real, so it didn't need anything except for antidepressants.
Very common. Yes, that is
so?
Very common. It's just, and then here's the other thing, is that when I finally did see my neurologist, after I'd had 6 weeks of physical therapy and was doing so much better, but I needed her, I needed her authorization for additional therapy to keep improving. He said, yes, this is FND, but it's the same as conversion disorder. It's 100% psychological. Don't shoot the messenger.
Right, okay.
Yeah, just like that same tone.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I was able to get more authorization through another doctor. So I did get 6 more weeks of physical therapy. I continued to improve. Tried one more time fruitlessly to get the neurologist to listen to me, and then realized she wasn't willing. So, it's like I said, I try not to think about her, and just think about the neurologist who helped me, not the neurological physical therapist, and just the fact that I was in the right place at the right time. And that's why I'm currently retired, not because of this, but because, ironically, I got a wonderful job with flexibility, and I didn't even have to disclose my condition, because everything was so flexible that it was a non-issue. But then all of us got cut, the entire team, because, I don't know if you keep keeping up with, we were one of thousands of people in our field that got cut. So
okay.
That's when I decided, I'm given my age and I'm able to retire early, and I'm going to dedicate my research skills to, looking for, better understanding of this, because we have so far to go.
Absolutely.
Because I've got these, skills in research and evaluation, I can, even if I'm not getting, paid for this. In fact, I just got accepted for a, it just got, oh, thank you. Dr. Holmes, do you want me to tell everyone about the new book?
Probably yes.
Because,
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we just got accepted to have the book Understanding Functional Neurological Disorder, International Insights and Narratives. And it features 8 different professionals in their field from 8 different countries. And yes, Dr. Homeless is going to have a chapter in there. Or actually,
Amazing.
yep.
Okay.
So,
Fantastic. So you know
yeah.
each other?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay, yes.
okay.
Snezana.
Okay.
Yes, yes. I know, of course, I know Snezana Todorova, and I keep mispronouncing your name. So, yes. And yes, she
Schnepchner. Schnepchana. Is that right? I can't say it either. Is that a Russian name or an Eastern European name of some sort? I'm not sure. But
so,
yeah. Yeah, okay. So there's a book coming
yeah,
out.
because yes, she's brilliant.
Fantastic.
And that's why I'm so happy that she was able to contribute not 1 but 2 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
And
Amazing.
so,
Wonderful.
and yeah,
Okay.
maybe I recommend that, maybe she have her own podcast with you too, but
Sure, absolutely. So Serbian. Okay. But Dr. You keep
no,
saying
I don't
Dr.
want to fight.
Homeless.
I mean,
I'm
I was just calling you that because that was the name you were using. I didn't know if you wanted to remain anonymous. So, but if I'm saying it right, Snezana, and if not, I apologize. I know it's annoying when people mispronounce your name. So,
Oh, okay. So the book's coming out, and obviously, when it does come out, you'll be telling us about that on Substack. So we'll have links to that.
it'll be a long ways off. It's because
Mm-hmm.
with so many authors and so many layers of editing and everything else, it'll be yes, and yeah. So
Okay, so it's still in the pipeline, but getting there, which is great. So we were talking about how you coped as well, with the whole challenge of what was going on, and I think from what I'm hearing, finding people that started to believe in you obviously was a big plus and helped you to feel, oh, now I'm getting somewhere. People are starting to believe me. I'm getting the treatment that's starting to work. And alongside that, you were managing your stress. What were you using for that, for example? What techniques or strategies helped you the most in terms of, maintaining some sort of calmness?
I would say in general about maintaining calmness, and this is not just an FND thing. This is just stress in general.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
getting a better idea of what I had control over and what I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and not just with my body, but with everything going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing. And I think also we were just maintaining boundaries with people
Mm-hmm.
was another. And I think just letting go of accusations, whether it was FND related or not, that
Mm-hmm.
okay, I know what my strengths and weaknesses are. I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
say I'm perfect and everything is everything's just a neurological thing I can't control, but just kind of having a better sense of, okay, this is something I can control and change, and this is something
Right.
I have to let go of.
Yeah. Okay.
And I
So
think,
yeah. So that sounds like a very sensible approach, but one that isn't necessarily automatic, is it? It's sort of frustration can take over, and it's almost like I want to be able to do the things I used to do, and it's sort of getting that journey of getting to a place where you accept, well, this is how it is right now, so it's better not to fight with that, and in doing so you lead a more peaceful, accepting life. Is that how you could describe it?
well, I'd say that like when it came to the symptoms in particular, I think that it was so much easier to accept the symptoms when I no longer saw them as some part of the indictment of my character.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So when I could let go of the falsehood that I've been taught for decades, that okay, you subconsciously are limping for attention, or this is all because you can't handle stress. It's
Yeah.
and it's funny because like now I I love to sing, I love to perform,
Yeah.
and if I'm, twitching or,
Hmm.
having some kind of movement disorder on stage, I just roll with it. I
Fantastic.
don't
Yeah.
wanna, and I've got friends who understand, even if
Hmm.
they don't fully understand what the condition is, they don't judge me for it.
No.
They,
No.
and it makes my life so much easier because
Mm-hmm.
one thing that does trigger FND in a lot of people is even positive excitement. So,
Okay.
which means that if I'm at a party with a lot of people and we're all singing and dancing and having fun, it's going to get triggered. But instead of
Right.
thinking, oh no, this is embarrassing, I got to stop this, I got to calm down,
Yeah.
like, no, I'm just going to keep having fun. And if I twitch or my knee gives out, it happens. So
Yeah. And do you
not letting it, yeah.
does that put you on edge, say going to a party? Do you, in the back of your mind, are you worried about that, or how do you cope with that
It
if that's the
depends.
case?
If it's friends that I know and know me, I don't
Hmm.
care. It's just like if it happens, it happens. Now,
Absolutely.
if
Yeah.
it's a
Hmm.
situation where I don't know people or it's, I don't want to have to deal with this. Um, now I have learned some tricks on how to manage it in
Hmm.
public. In fact,
Okay.
one of the features of FND is that if, let's say, if your face or your hand is twitching and then you move another body part rhythmically, I'm kind
Oh,
of
that
demonstrating here
helps.
so that, oh, it
Yeah. Yeah.
does. And that's in fact
Okay.
one way that it's diagnosed is because that works.
Oh,
But
okay.
it,
Interesting.
yeah, it's called
That's
entrainment.
funny.
But
Right.
if the if it in the that's another irony is that that used to be used as, oh, see, as soon as I distract you, it goes away. That was proof that it wasn't real. When instead,
Okay.
that
Mhm.
was something that I've used to maintain control my symptoms. So,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
was on a Zoom call at work and my
Yeah.
face was twitching, I would just start deliberately shaking my leg, and then
Mm-hmm.
that would stop all the movements,
Mm.
on the rest of my body.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So, so when you go to a party and there are people it's fine because
Yeah.
they accept, they
Mhm.
understand it. But what about going into groups of people that may not understand it in public places? How does that affect you now?
Well, I'd say now I'm at the point where I don't care, for the
Good.
most part. Now, one thing I do sometimes, I can't say is I do have a fold-up cane in my purse, especially if I'm like when I went to Italy last year,
Mm.
and I thought, okay, well, with between jet lag and stress and everything else, I want that cane because I'm going to be doing a lot of walking, unfamiliar places, a lot of
Mm.
stimulation, and this way I don't have to deal with people are staring at me wondering if I'm drunk.
Right. Yeah.
And, so sometimes I used it, sometimes I didn't,
Hmm.
but, it definitely, I mean, and that's another irony is that when this first started back in the '90s, I did buy myself a cane at the drugstore, and I
Okay.
found it really helped. And
Yeah.
that was another reason that the doctors were convinced that I was doing this for attention, because, why would a woman in her 20s get a cane?
Oh my
And
goodness. You
the
can't win. Yeah.
No, and the funny thing is it was just the opposite, because I noticed that when I was in public with my cane, people
Yeah.
politely averted their eyes and left me alone.
Right. Yeah. I
But when
understand that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't have a cane, they're also like, "Oh, is she on drugs or what?" So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Isn't that a terrible part of human nature, though, to just instantly judge? Like, I mean, it happens, doesn't it? For all sorts of different conditions and so on and so forth. No one ever stops to think what's going on for that person. Even if someone was drunk, for example, it's that judgment. Oh, they're drunk or whatever. It's not. I wonder if they're okay. I wonder what's going on for that person. Maybe something really bad's happened to them. We all, human nature is fairly negative sometimes, which is quite upsetting.
I'm
Anyway,
sorry, I'm laughing because I just saw Susanna's comment
oh, what's she saying now?
that
Oh,
FND equals effing not disturbed.
right. Okay. Yeah. Drunk is
But,
undeserving. Yeah. Equals undeserving. Okay. Um, yes, and also I think Dr. Holmes was asking about whether you lost friendships through this as well. That's quite interesting. Did any of your friends abandon you because of it?
I think um, I would say no, because anyone who pulled away from me wasn't a friend to begin with.
Right. Okay.
So, I think if anything, it might have been a little bit of the opposite, that when I became self-conscious, I stopped going out and I stopped.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and
Mm.
I didn't really have, I think, I mean, I guess I didn't really think about it that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't as if there was someone who suddenly said, oh, well, we don't want to hang with her
No.
anymore, or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, that's good, isn't it? I mean, so your friend
Yeah.
stuck with you, but what happened to you is that you started avoiding going out, understandably, until you got through that hurdle and came to a place where you accepted it, were confident in yourself, and said, right, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to go on that stage, and if my leg buckles, so be it.
Oh, yeah,
Which
because
is incredible. Mm.
now that I think about it, even during those, like the 20-year span,
Yeah.
it's not that I was a complete hermit,
No.
but I definitely did not want to, put myself out there, get on stage or anything like that.
No.
And ironically, a lot of it was not because I was afraid of having an episode on stage.
Mm.
It was because prior to the FND starting, I was getting into theater and karaoke and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, when they're doing the whole psych assessment and they ask what I like to do, oh,
Mm.
that's proof I'm an attention seeker.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And so I gave it up out of shame, not seeing my
Yeah.
symptoms, but shame directly, but shame of, oh, I guess, well, yeah,
Yeah.
it is true. I do like to be on stage, so I guess that's
Yeah.
what's wrong with me.
Yeah. So creating all this self-doubt in
Oh yeah,
yourself and stripping away the thing that you love to do.
absolutely. Because when I
Mm.
finally did I got back into theater, ironically during the pandemic. I
Right.
was all
Okay.
online at the
Yeah.
time. But, it was just, I discovered I loved writing poetry and songs and skits, and I started doing that. And so there's a lot of opportunities to do that online.
Mm-hmm.
And then when, the world opened back up, then there were more opportunities live to do it. And so I got into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when I got COVID and all the symptoms came back a couple years later, I
Mm.
told the local director, because he'd asked me if I wanted to try out for a play. And I
Yeah.
said, if you have any roles for someone who walks funny and has strange muscle spasms, call me.
Right. Okay.
And believe it or not, I did get some roles. I did get
Right.
um, there were some accommodations they could make for me. For
Mm-hmm.
example, if there was a role that required me to stand on stage for a long time, I could,
Mm-hmm.
my character would have a chair instead.
Mm-hmm.
Or now it didn't mean I'd always get a part in the play. If there's a lot of dancing, I couldn't do it, even if I
Yeah.
wanted. And
Yeah.
that's
But
disappointing. That was disappointing, but
yeah, yeah, disappointed, but I guess in some ways it made sense.
oh,
In
absolutely.
so
I'm not going to demand that, oh, you always have to accommodate me. That's not
yeah.
right.
Yeah, but also great that they wanted to include you and did include you and do, and you
Mhm.
continue to do that and
Mhm.
perform on stage, and it's something that you love doing.
Mhm.
Mm.
And if I don't make a play, I just, okay, well, I guess I'll help backstage. So,
Right. Okay. So you're still part of the community, which is really important, isn't it? For us
mhm.
all, we all need to be integrated into various things and with different people to thrive.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how would you say you are now, Karen? Would you describe yourself as thriving now?
Oh, I don't want to say, oh, I'm doing thriving, I'm doing great, I'm doing perfect. I never have any down days. I never,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, you know, I'm, I'm definitely doing better than I was a few years ago. I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely doing better than I was in, the 90s. And even
Definitely.
though, during the 2000s, 20 teens, I
Mm.
was not very symptomatic with the FND. Um, but I was still, I think, so afraid. Like I said, I was still isolating myself to some extent.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I think I'm definitely doing better that way. I'm a lot more outgoing than I used to be. And I think also, um, when I thought I was the only person on earth who had whatever condition I had, I really did.
Right.
I thought then there was like no reason for me to seek more information about it. It's like, No one else has this. So
Yeah.
I just have to live with it. But now when I learned that so many people, listen, Donna, so many people have this, and so many, you know, all over the world, men, women, children, um, and that so many of them were treated just as badly as I was, or even worse.
Right.
And that, like I said, also learning that my condition was relatively mild and just how extreme it can be. And I thought, wow, this really gives me something to fight for.
Yeah.
This gives me something, this gives me a reason to get up in the morning, get on my laptop, do what I can, especially when there's so much else going on in the world right now that we have no control over.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah. So
this
you've
is,
got
yeah,
so now you've got purpose, and even
yes,
more
exactly,
purpose. You can fight for a really good cause and help other people that have been through or are going through what you went through, and hopefully
exactly.
to help them through that and going forwards, hopefully eliminating some of the issues that you've had coming
Hmm.
through it and with the diagnosis and the stigma. Yeah. So life for you is on track again, if
Oh
we can
yeah,
call it that. You're leading a good life. You've got purpose, got reason to get up in the morning. You're looking after yourself. You've got a lovely family by all accounts as well. Um, what message might you have for other people at the start of their journey?
oh my goodness. I would say that yes, there's a lot of resources out there for you. FND Hope International has all kinds of
Hmm.
um, online support groups. It has a lot of information online, and that you're not alone. I think that's a big thing, is that you are not alone.
Hmm.
Be careful of the information out there, because there
Hmm.
is a lot of misinformation and disinformation. Because I mean, not only are there the doctors, the professionals who are still stuck in the 19th century about FND, but of course that makes a great opportunity for a lot of grifters and conspiracy theorists to fill the gap and mislead
Yeah.
people.
Hmm.
And so I see a lot of that too. And so you just have to be careful.
Hmm.
And I think, I mean, it's funny because it's hard to think of like one message to give everybody,
Yeah, of
because
course. Something's different.
people, yeah, there's a lot of people with different opinions on
Mm.
FNP and what it means to them. I know I really like the glitchy software metaphor. Some people hate
Mm.
it because it's dehumanizing, and
Right.
I
Okay.
think it all depends
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
your, your perspective. And so if someone says, "Oh, I hate that metaphor," okay, then I won't use it. But
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. But I think the message there is that it's not you. It's not you. There's something going on beyond your control.
right,
And you're not alone, and we're here to help you with that. And there are ways that you can help reduce those
oh yes.
glitches and so on. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think that's the other thing, is that some people say, well, if you just say it's a glitch, then there's nothing you can do about it. But to
Mm.
continue the metaphor, there's a lot of workarounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
but if
Yeah.
you don't like the metaphor, just say there are ways that you can manage your symptoms, cope with
Mm.
them, live a
Yeah.
full, and above all, live a full, meaningful life in spite of them.
Amazing. I mean, that's a great, just right there, that's a great message, isn't it? You can live a full, meaningful life despite that. And
Hmm.
I think we see that with a lot of conditions, because some chronic conditions are a case of
Yeah,
managing. We don't necessarily get over them or have them cured, but we can live with them and we can live a
oh,
really
yeah.
good life with them.
Mhm.
But there's a journey. There's a part of a journey of understanding the condition, learning about it, finding strategies and acceptance, and then doing things that we can do and finding new pursuits that we might enjoy.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's also, kind of the, one door. I know it sounds very trite. The one door
Mm.
closes, another one opens.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to go
it's
looking for that
true.
door.
Yeah.
And um, so it seems to be, something I'm continuously doing. That okay, I have been
Mm.
disappointed before. I got over it. I moved on.
Yeah.
I think, with the burden of self blame gone, that
Mm.
opened up so much. I
Right.
think,
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. So that's the thing, isn't it? So there's a message for doctors out there and diagnosticians that, you
mhm.
know, this is a very important message, because by not believing people and taking it seriously, they're crushing people's lives, which is really unacceptable, actually. So thank you for talking about it and the work that you do in advocating a change. It's really important. Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you think needs to be said?
I'm just looking at the chat to see if there's any.
Yeah.
Rosanna had another question. What were you denied particular roles, or was to discuss what you can do?
I think that's the acting bit, wasn't it? But
Yeah.
you do some roles, don't you, on stage still,
Well, I think,
regardless?
well, the reality of community theater is not everyone is going to get a role in every play, regardless of whether they have a disability or not. That's just, and
That's
that's just
true.
that's showbiz. You
Yeah,
think
it is.
you think you're a shoo-in and you're not because there's someone better, and so that's
Yeah.
so yes, there was a time like recently I didn't get a role. I was very disappointed, but instead of getting angry about it, I just thought, well, I'm just going to help backstage, support my friends, and try again next time.
Amazing. Yeah. And it's funny you should say that, because I have a daughter that loves being on stage. And when she doesn't get a role, it's very gut wrenching because you
Oh, yeah.
want it. But then it was like you've said, well, I didn't get this time, but I can help out and still be part of the community and do things. And then I'll try again next time. And I think that's part of this, isn't it? It's sort of, you don't get to do one thing, so you try again.
Mhm.
And then maybe you get lucky the next time.
Oh, absolutely, and that goes with
Mm.
everything. I think regardless of whether or not you have a disability,
Yeah,
it's you're just something
absolutely.
where you learn like for
Mm.
example, it's like, well, now that I am not doing theater several days a week, I've got more time for music, and so I'm doing that
Fantastic.
this afternoon, and
Yeah,
so,
wonderful. So really enjoying things now that you've
oh yeah,
don't do the day job, so to speak. You can do other things which are perhaps more enjoyable and purposeful.
oh
Yeah,
yeah. I think
yeah.
it's all that there's definitely days I get down about things like
Mhm.
why about being retired sooner than I wanted or expected, but then I have to turn it around and say, well, you're lucky that you can. You're lucky
Yeah.
that, and that, instead of thinking, well, I didn't achieve this and this and that, well, look what you did
Mhm.
achieve.
Yeah,
And,
of course. Yeah.
or, and so and it's not always easy. Like I said, I definitely have,
Mm.
down days where old, recordings in my mind.
Mhm.
And then I just have to, okay, get out, move on.
Mhm. Yeah, and reframe it. But I would challenge your word retire, because I don't see you as having retired. I see you just entering a new chapter, and perhaps an even greater one. So because you're still working, you're still
Yeah.
doing things.
Mhm.
I feel that retirement is almost like you stop, whereas you're definitely not stopping. If anything, you're accelerating. So
I
that's
think
inspirational.
no, I think you're totally right about that. In fact, there's days I tell myself, especially when I'm writing papers and
Yeah.
doing all the things I used to do, I'm just not doing it for a
Mhm.
paycheck anymore. I'm doing it for
No.
something more important than a
Yeah.
paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah. And it gives you more freedom, doesn't it, as well?
Oh, it does. I mean, it gives me more freedom, but at the same time, I have to make sure that, okay, you're
Mhm.
not just writing this for yourself. This is a paper that you're getting, if you're writing for publication,
Yeah.
then you have to, I mean, Substack is more of a doing it for myself.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of
Yeah.
freedom with that, and I can
Yeah.
go back and forth between, okay,
Mhm.
here's this is scientific, and this is my personal life, and this is a snarky
Yeah.
comment. Here's a
Uh-huh.
song I wrote.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can just go into that, can't you? That's brilliant. Yeah. But it's a great balance, isn't it? You've got the two
Mhm,
different sides of it, and also an audience a growing audience on Substack who you can educate
mhm.
about these things. And, even if the people aren't going through the same condition, there are definitely messages people can take from how you manage these things across different conditions.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. I mean, I think that's
yeah.
one thing I'm learning is that, even though my condition might be less well known or understood,
Mm,
we have so much in common with people with other conditions that have been misunderstood,
yeah.
whether it's about well-meaning people saying
Hmm.
that, things that aren't so helpful, or whether
Hmm.
it's doctors who, blow you off, or
Yeah.
whether it's, yes, stress exacerbates this, but my condition is not just stress.
No,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything that you've done tonight, and for all the work you do. It's incredible. It's really inspiring, and the way you've managed it all is really inspiring for people. So, if anyone wants to get in touch, they can find you on your Substack. I guess that's the
Yeah.
best place to go.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you have any other places you can direct people to? Perhaps do you have a
Like
website as well, or?
But I think, well, just for myself, my own stuff
Yeah.
is, I just have a Substack at the moment. I also have a
Mhm.
YouTube channel, but not other than a song called Medical Gaslighting. I don't have, all my songs are like not related to FND.
Okay.
Actually, I do have a couple that are, but they're like more broad,
Right.
about
Okay.
not giving up. But
Oh, that's great. So that's on YouTube. Okay. And is the link to YouTube on your Substack as well? Or maybe we can
oh,
put it. Yeah.
I'll put it there. I mean, I've got a couple, some of my
Great.
posts refer to songs on there, but I'll just put a thanks for the idea. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
like I said, FND Hope International, highly
Mhm.
recommend.
Okay.
Neurosymptoms.org, I recommend.
Okay.
And
Fantastic. Good. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for the couple of people that have showed up. I know we had a bit of a glitch starting, so we had to restart a new live. One
well,
of
of
these
course
days I'll
it's
get
appropriate, if it glitches in the brain and I glitch, meta glitches in the.
exactly that. Exactly that. In psychotherapy, we might call that transference of
There
some
we go.
sort. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you so much. It's been lovely getting to know you as well as hearing about everything that you've been through. Thanks everyone for showing up, and I'm sure people will look at this on demand when they have time. So, any questions for Carolyn? She has a Substack, and do
Yeah.
shoot them through. Okay. All right. Well, good night. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Harriet.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.